Well, hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode of I Draw, You Watch. And while they run the colors across the bottom of the screen we're going to be using today, I'm going to dive right in and start drawing. Okay, let's have some happy accidents. I'm sorry, that's just a little bit of an homage to Bob Ross there. Welcome to this episode of I Draw, You Watch, where the weekly show where I draw one of my comics and talk over the top a bit about any old thing that takes my fancy and or is worthy of talking about, because you know, if I looked at the news at the moment, it's all pedos, so no one wants to fucking talk about that. We're all bored of talking about that. Or it's that girl that sucks off 24 blokes for a bottle of fucking drink. I don't want to get into that either. So I'm going to ignore the hot topics and get into some stuff that really matters. Like, is Sniper Elite any good? No, I talked about that last week. Going for a kind of pinky lilac. It's just pink. It's just hot pink in the old drawing this week. This is a strip with Jodie in it, so hopefully it won't go longer than usual. This one, what is this? Oh, this is actually one Jodie came up with while we were having a sort of argument. And then she shared it afterwards, and I thought it was quite good. So we're going to, I'm going to run with that. The strip's not going to be up for another week. I'll put the link below. But if you're watching this, super sneak preview again. I mean, I do my best for you guys. It's excellent. You know, you get these super secret previews of strips that are upcoming because I've got to draw one for the week before, or record me drawing one. So yeah, hopefully it won't go on longer because I don't draw Jodie as much as, you know, Kip and Warren and Waffles and Lawrence. So I tend to knock them out very quickly. Like, as you can tell now, like 2 minutes of sketching, I've only done, you know, the first panel with her in it. But in any case, yes, I Draw, You Watch, nonsense. Me talking things over the top of the drawing with the watching and the thing. Bob Ross, that little thing I did at the beginning, was there used to be a show on, I don't know what channel it was on in America, but in England it was on the Discovery Channel. It still is, in fact. It's called The Joy of Painting, with this fellow Bob Ross, who was like he was not entirely sure where he's from, but it was one of those states where they've got a lot of like wildlife and ranches, and you know, it wasn't Texas, but you know, Nebraska or something like that. And he's a painter, and he but he's not like one of the traditional painters. He would use like a decorator's brush, like a 3-inch, 2-inch brush, and you know, he'd use paint thinner. It's just a mental way to paint, but it was awesome. Every painting he ever made was just amazingly done once he was finished. And he'd always have a scene that looked really good, and then it looked like he'd ruined it. He'd like do something and like, this is a technique, and he'd start doing it, you go, oh my god, he's fucked it right up, he has ruined it. But he never did. It was always awesome. You can try and search on YouTube for it, but there's just no uploads of it on YouTube somehow. It's like the one thing. There's like whole downloads of movies on YouTube. I can watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze on YouTube right now, that someone's uploaded the entire movie, but I can't watch a single episode all the way through of The Joy of Painting. But it was really good. I used to really like it when I was younger. It's just one of those things that was really cool. And he always used to talk in that little soft voice, and he had a lot of sayings like happy accidents. You never make mistakes, you have happy accidents, and then you change the painting based on what you've done, and stuff like that. But and he was always a big fan of like the wildlife, and he had lots of videos of like, I remember like he'd play halfway through the thing, he'd just go, oh, I've got a little video of a squirrel I found, and you're like, what are you doing? It was nuts, proper bonkers, but yeah, good fun. And that's what he used to do at the front. His ones would be proper colours, like they'd be, you know, alizarin crimson and fucking yellow ochre, and you know, titanium white and stuff like that, not the colours that I put across the bottom of the screen. But yeah, so just a bit of fun to start us off. And I've been rambling, and we've done fucking 5 minutes already. I've managed to sketch out the old. Look at that face in panel 2. Look at that. That is one smug little. That is one evil little idea face. And then, yeah, quite funny. Yeah, I'm quite proud of the sketches I did in this one. Actually, it's quite good. So, what's been happening? Not a lot. Games wise, there's still nothing going on. I've chosen what I'm going to be doing after the Ripper videos. So if you've been watching it, if you haven't, you don't know what you're missing. It is hilarious, especially now I'm getting into Act 3 of it. This is where I don't remember anything that happened, and it's just me just talking nonsense. And I got better at editing the videos together, so they're quite funny the way I've edited them together. You know, treating myself like an idiot. I think there's 4 episodes to go, and then we move on to a new game, and I've sorted out what game that's going to be, and it's going to be the same sort of vein. Hopefully, I've not played the game yet, but it's not going to be a live action game, but it's one of those where it's you know, it's a narrative rather than a big action game that it's hard to follow along and or record anything for. So this is where I figured out that I've drawn that whole sketch on the balloon line, so I've had to rearrange everything. It goes on for a minute or so where I've like completely effed up where the where the sketch layer is, so you'll get a lot of me just erasing sketches for the next minute or so. But yeah, so I've chosen that game. I've not decided what I'm going to do at the end of XCOM yet, whether I'm just going to go straight back into some more XCOM, because the people that like the XCOM playthrough, and that's what they want to watch. So I might just, yeah, if you know, when that team reach their conclusion, whatever that may be, I might just start it up again with a new team, or if you've got suggestions about what you want to do, you know, let me know. There's not many of you get in touch, but that's fine. You know, you're watching it, and that's the most important thing. So, but a lot of you get in touch on Twitter rather than through YouTube, and we know the YouTube comment system is not brilliant, but I do read them all. So, it's up to you if you want to get in touch. I'm you know, I try to engage my community rather than have them all bitching and moaning at each other. Oh God, I've gone off on a tangent. Let's have a look at some. Other things that might be set me off on. Did you see the thing with the woman who gave 27 blowjobs for a drink? Fucking just. I mean, it's just look. She's not exactly the most wholesome girl. Who's, you know, if someone said to me, you know, oh, suck off some dicks on a dance floor full of people in the day and age where you're guaranteed that people are going to be filming it on their mobile phones, I'd be a little bit like, probably not, definitely not. In fact, yeah, they said basically you can win a holiday if you, but you've got to suck as many dicks as possible in like a minute or 2 minutes or whatever it was. And she tried her best to put them all in her mouth, and then afterwards they said, "Here you go, you've won a holiday," and it was a cocktail called a holiday. So she won it. So on the part of the promoters who run these events, that's massively dickish that they would get a girl. It's like, it's one thing to get a girl, like get anyone to do something stupid, but to do something like that, that's pretty grim. To not force someone, but put enough pressure on them to do something that grim, and then trick them, saying it's, yeah, you won something that was worth €3. Good one. So yeah, but at the same time, I mean, you don't do it, do you? Like $1 million. Someone said to me £1 million, and it was like, it wasn't actual £1 million. They brought out a suitcase like in £1 million drop, and they went, look, that is yours. if you put a willy in your mouth, I would be tempted, because £1 million is £1 million. Let's not beat around the bush, so to speak. But yeah, let's stop talking about blowjobs, eh? Let's move on to something else, to see if there's anything else that's... There's also a thing, have you seen the thing in China? They've got this massive... it's basically a truck that has a cannon on the back of it, and it's like the cannon is the size of the truck. It's not like a small... The cannon is the size of a car on the back of a truck, and it goes around firing water into the air, like, but in a spray form, like spraying water, like mist. It's like the mist setting you've got on your hose pipe. Sprays that into the air to combat the smog problem that they've got, because they've got these thick layers of smog in China. Well, their thought to combat is to just fire a load of water into the air. So they've got this massive army truck that's got a cannon on the back of it that is just launching water into the smog in hopes of dispersing it, and at least trying to clear some of the air. But it is really bad. Like, if you look at China, sometimes it's like really, really bad. There's this guy on YouTube who's just got a load of promotion via some of the gaming websites, or the websites that are predominantly gaming, like Kotaku and that. But and he's just drawing Pokemon, and he's drawing them on like fucking pen and paper, and like shittily. They're not brilliant. Like, if someone, like, I've seen some decent pictures of like Pokemon characters, or other Japanese manga characters, and they're really well done, and they're like shaded well and everything else, and he's just drawing them with a black marker, and he's going, look, that's how you draw Pikachu. And then he's Kotaku like, oh, look at this geezer, he's drawing Pikachu. Fuck you, I've been drawing comic strips and posting them for like fucking 15 weeks now, you douchebags, and you won't fucking say. And I've done gaming ones, and just jealousy, really. That's all it is, just a little bit of jealousy, because I want everyone to look at my things. I don't think that's too selfish to want people to look at my stuff. I'm not trying to make any money out of it. I would like people to see what I've done. It's got to that sort of stage now where I'm just begging. I'm not. I'm joking. There's a bit of news for what's the name of the fucking TV show? Arrow, the DC show about Green Arrow, played by, I can't remember his name, Stephen something. The guy who played the last Superman, like the one before the current one, is going to be in it, but obviously not as Superman. But he is going to be in it as Atom, which is the shape, like the size changing guy. So it's a bit weird to see the guy who's Superman. He's in the one that where Kevin Spacey plays Lex Luthor. So yeah, it's a bit weird to have someone. It's the same as like Johnny Storm is now Captain America, just because he was good in that, so he got the role as Captain America. I don't know the actor's name. There's a lot of actors like that I don't know the names. When it comes to action movies, you've got more chance of me knowing your name as an actor if you're in a TV show than you do in a film, because I don't watch credits in films very often. So unless you're like famous or I know you from something else, whereas TV shows, I tend to watch the credits just so I can see. Like if I'm watching Law and Order SVU, and I'm just watching the intro, and then they've got the special guest stars run underneath, and if you see a famous name under there, that's your killer, that's your rapist or whatever. You know that person's the criminal, because that tends to be how it works. The most famous person on the screen is the one who's the killer, which is a curse sometimes, because like you're watching like The Mentalist, and then you see someone who was on Castle last week or CSI last week as the killer, and you're like, well, he's going to be the killer again. It's the guy that played the Terminator in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. I don't know the guy's name again, But he was also in that Raising Arizona, not Raising Arizona, that's the film. Raising Hope TV show. He's like a Texan. He was in Deadwood as well. He played one of the Pinkertons, or a representative of the Pinkertons. But he was in it at one point. He was in every single TV show I watched, like the crime shows I watched. He was in every single one as a killer. So it's just like, oh, it's him. He's in it again. He's definitely going to be the one who kills someone. He was in CSI. He was in Castle. He was in The Mentalist. He was always the killer. So it was. So that happens sometimes. They've built a new water slide in America. Oh no, sorry, in Germany I think it is, and it's got a glass like dome across the top. It's just a normal slide, but they put a glass like arch roof type thing over the top because it's so fucking steep and quick. They're worried that people will just fly out of it, which they probably will. Someone's going to get concussed or something on it. It's pretty quick. If you see, they've got like people going on it, and then they posted like the whatchamacallums on YouTube, the first person view of them on YouTube. So yeah, I don't know. It's I'm not big on water parks anyway, but if you are, it's one of those things that's probably fun. Speaking of which, I'm going to Thorpe Park. Thorpe Park is like, everyone in England, you know what Thorpe Park is, so I'm not going to carry on explaining it, but for those of you in America, it's like Disney World, but shit. No, it's not shit, it's quite good, but it's not as big. It's nowhere near as big as Disney World. It's like one of your parks scaled down. It's like Six Flags Great America, which is the only park I've been to in America that's not, massive. It's about that size. And I'm going there in a couple of weeks for a stag do that I've organised as well. It's the day part, and then there's the evening part where you eat food. And so that should be good. I haven't been there in a while, and a lot of stuff's changed since I was there last. So I'm looking forward to that. There's only one ride I won't go on there, and it's just the most innocuous ride ever. But it's just a swing. It's basically a big swing that you sit on, but it goes past 90 degrees as you swing backwards and forwards, and you've only got a little lap belt. And last time I went on it, I sat next to a load of cubs or scouts, and I don't think they'd heard any of the words that I used while we were going, because as we got off, they were all like, "Did you hear what that guy was saying? Oh man, I've not even heard that word before." Yeah, I was like a sailor. I was swearing so bad. It was kind of fun, but I wouldn't do it again. I prefer roller coasters. I'd much rather queue up and go on a road. Like when we went with some friends a couple of years back, two of them queued up to go on the one where you sit in a chair and the tower goes up and then it drops and then you get off, and that's it. That's the ride. And the queue was fairly long. And in the time they went on that, me and one of the other people that went got on a roller coaster twice. Went round on the roller coaster twice. Much rather do that than sit in a queue and then go up in a chair and then drop. I prefer moving. I prefer the roller coaster type experience. But I'm sure we'll hit everything when we go, depending on how busy it's going to be, because it will be in the 6 weeks holidays, which is the summer holidays for the kids in the UK, and they will more than likely fill the park up if it's a nice day. People will just be going there on a whim, looking out the window and going, "Oh, it's sunny." So if it's a little bit gloomy, that'd be good, because then no one will turn up and we can get on everything. But there's a couple of new things there that I haven't been on, so I'm looking forward to going on them. There's a ride, it's like a roller coaster, except the bit that you sit on sort of it's called the Wasp or something like that. And if you can imagine, you've got two chairs that sit on the track, and then there's a chair either side of them, and then another either side that sort of hang out to the left and the right of the track. So it's like one big long row of chairs, but on a small little track. And so obviously, if the further out you are, when the track twists, the more G's you get, because you'll be flung further. So that'd be cool. And what else is there? There's another one. Oh yeah, they've changed the Saw ride, I think, as well. It's now called something else, but it's probably the exact same ride. But that should be cool. Is Hex there, or is Hex at Alton Towers? I think Hex is at Alton. No, Hex is at Alton Towers. That's a shit ride. What's the one that's 13? Yeah, I still think that's Alton Towers as well. That's a pretty cool ride. When we went to Thorpe Park for my birthday a few years back, Jodie sorted us out some tickets and a hotel stay, and we went. And we didn't know anything about it. We'd seen the adverts of this ride called 13, but we didn't know anything about it. It's meant to be the theme of the ride is that it's a haunted forest. And when you're queuing up, if there was a queue, there wasn't when we went, which was cool because it was only March. There was the theme was it's a haunted forest, and as you queue up, there's like haunted forest bits about, and as you go around, there's tablets that read 1, 2, and then you get inside, and it's all like weird forest stuff, and then it counts 13 and there's screaming and all sorts of weirdness. But anyway, and eventually it's just a roller coaster, and you can see a bit of the roller coaster, we can't see much of it, and then you get in and you go round. It's like a normal roller coaster. Now before we went in, we just had our lunch, and I was reading the little you always get like one of those fold out maps, don't you, when you go to the theme park, and I was reading about this 13. It said it's the world's first vertical drop roller coaster, and I was like, well, it's not the world's first because it's not even the first in this park, because they've got Oblivion, which is a vertical drop roller coaster. So I was like, that's a bit of a weird comment to make. So we get on it anyway, and we go round and everything else, and then it goes around like a full roller coaster, and then it pulls into this shed. And I looked, because I do sort of shop fit, and I can tell when something's a door or it's not. We pulled into this shed, and I looked at the wall in front of us, and I thought, that's not going to open. There's no way that can open. There's no door there. There's no join. There's no nothing. So we're not going any further forward. Do we ride the rest of it all the way backwards? And I was like, no, because when we pulled into this is all happening in my head in like rapid time. I'm not like talking it through like this. And I was like, well, we don't go back because I see the cart pulling forward when we got onto it. So what happens then? And then I looked around, and that's when I noticed that the sides had like runners. And then I just looked at Jodie, and I looked at her, and she looked at me, and she went, what? And I went, oh no. And then the thing, it's like on a gas suppression system, and the whole track with the car and everything on it drops. It's like that section of track that holds the cars when you're in this little tunnel bit completely drops. It's like a sheer drop, and then it links up with a track that's like another 10 meters below or whatever, and then you shoot out backwards, and that's when you pull into the thing when you get off. And it was so good because no one, like me and Jodie, didn't know about it, and no one who was getting off the ride spoiled it for us as we were getting on. So it's one of those ones it's great the first time round, and it's good the second and third time round if there's people in the car that don't know about it. Because like we got on, and then we pull into this thing, and there's people going, oh, where do we go? What happens now? We would just like tease them. So but it's one of those ones that you need that surprise value, because after you've had that, it's not that good, because it's just a normal roller coaster. It's not really a brilliant roller coaster either, but it's just that little shock factor was really good the first time you went on it. And if none of you have ever been to Alton Towers and you didn't know about the 13 ride, I'm sorry, I've just spoilt it for you. I might put a spoiler alert on the video just to let everyone know, because I've just done exactly what I said I shouldn't have done when the video was happening. Never mind. I'm sorry. I do apologise for that. Okay, what's next? Don't actually have much left to talk about. I'll just have a little scan of a browse of the old website pages, see if there's anything upcoming that I should probably be talking about that I'm not talking about. What I might do for some of the gaming videos is when one of these really, because there's a lot of really scary games coming out like soon, like The Evil Within. meant to be like really, really, really shit your pants type stuff. So I might see if I can get one of them on. I need to get a fucking controller that's on the USB, so that I can play them on the thing. But I might see if I can get it on the PC, so that I can record myself playing one of these scary shit myself fucking games, because I think that would be pretty amusing for people to watch, watching me try to act like I'm not scared when really I'm absolutely crapping my pants. Because I think it would be fun. I think there's two. There's one called The Evil Within, which is done by Bethesda, which I think that's probably the one I'll go for out of the two. And there's another one, I can't remember what it's called now though. But yeah, like a lot of people did videos for Outlast when that came out. I think it was Outlast, which is a horror game. So I'm thinking that maybe I'll do something in the same vein as that. Yeah, I think I will. Alright, that is this week's I Draw You Watch. I hope you have enjoyed listening to me ramble on. I didn't really do anything very informative this week, but I filled it with anecdotes that I hope were amusing. And if you don't actually listen to me, I hope you've enjoyed watching the artwork commence, because it's been quite a good episode for that, in so much as I like the drawings that I've done, which I don't sometimes. We've got the XCOM went up earlier. The Ripper video will obviously go up again on Thursday, usually Thursday afternoonish, maybe Friday morning. Sometimes it's Thursday morning, depends when I'm free to do it. But other than that, I will see you next week with more XCOM, more Ripper, and another I Draw You Watch. So until then, have another good week, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.